One of the hardest parts about coming out of a narcissistic relationship, a relationship where you were deeply betrayed, lied to, manipulated, is dealing with the conflicting thoughts, the contradicting emotions, the different beliefs that you can have about your ex-partner. Cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when you have two or more opposing beliefs about the same person or the same situation. It manifests when someone we care about betrays us. It creates a division in the psyche of two or more contradicting beliefs. And you can vacillate between those different beliefs, and you can try to favor one of those beliefs. And that's all these sort of self-regulatory, unconscious things that we do to try to reduce the level of dissonance in our mind, because our human brains do not like having two different opposite beliefs about the same thing. We can't make sense of that. We can't reconcile that. So it's not just like something in your mind, like I think I'm in love with him. You're feeling it. I feel like this person might be my soulmate, or I feel like I could have tried more and fixed it. Did I leave too soon? Maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Maybe it was my fault, versus like, I hate him or her. How could they have done this to me? I want nothing to do with them. I'm so glad the relationship is over. And then flipping over to that other side. Cognitive dissonance can be left with you for years after, and sometimes decades after the relationship ends. And as a consequence of it, you feel still attached to the relationship, that you're not able to let it go, like it's preventing you from moving on in your life. You just are not free of it. You just haven't, you are not fully free of it. When that split in the psyche occurs, so when somebody betrays us or they lie to us or something's not lining up and we have those two contradictory beliefs, we are confronted with a choice which was made unconsciously. The first choice is that we can change our belief about that person. Okay, I thought that they were honest, but I now recognize that they're a liar. That would be a change of belief. Or we can do the second, which is to reduce dissonance, which is to try to favor one belief. And if the belief is that we can stay in this relationship, then we have to do all this other stuff to rationalize it and to make it be okay. And so what that rationalization could look like is like, I know the real them is in there. They're just hurt. They just had these past experiences. They need love and patience. This is my fault. I did it. There's something about me. There's something wrong with me. So you can blame yourself, which is another false belief in a narcissistic relationship. There can be betrayal blindness, where you start filtering out facts that would contradict the belief that this person is a safe person to be in a relationship with. So not looking at their call log when you strongly suspect they're reaching out to prostitutes, let's just say, or that they have another relationship. And so willingly deciding not to look at those things. And it can also be unconscious, where you're disconnecting and disassociating from what is happening in your relationship with this person. And so with that betrayal blindness, the emotional pain starts to be experienced more somatically. And so that just means in the body. And so that can look like hypervigilance, walking on eggshells, and also physical health issues, stomach aches, headaches, back pain, because you're suppressing something now. You're denying something to restore or maintain your vision that this person is safe. And your alert systems are also going off, which is why you can feel so hypervigilant when you're in the relationship. You may have heard me reference studies that speak to the women, the female partners of narcissistically abusive people, how they have elevated personality traits that are appealing to narcissistic people. Those are things like hyper-empathy, being highly cooperative, tolerant, persevering, hardworking, high achieving, and those traits are appealing to narcissistic personalities who want to portray a certain image to the world, who want access to your success, your financial means, your, what the illusion of being with you might look like, or even many sadist type narcissistic people just want to choose somebody who's strong and has these amazing traits like that because they want the pleasure of breaking that person down for supply. So, and extracting that emotional juice. Those collection of traits are amazing positive traits in healthy and work relationships, but those same traits are highly exploited in narcissistic relationships. And so it's not uncommon for me to work with women that blame themselves when they've been clearly abused and betrayed. She hasn't fully reconciled in her mind who this person really is. And it's a result of cognitive dissonance, because one of the things that we do to maintain the belief that this person is okay is really struggling to accept their manipulative, nefarious ill will toward you, that there were things that happened in your relationship that were strategic, exploitative, manipulative, completely self-serving. And that is a lot to take in and to accept. And it's painful for many of the women coming out of these relationships in some situations. You want to restore the positive image that you have of this person, so it can stay with you for a long time. As a sort of denial of reality, conflicting emotions, feeling waves of love, then feeling waves of guilt, feeling attached to the past, feeling like you're stuck, you're imprisoned by this. Will I ever get through it? Will I ever stop thinking about them? Oh my God, does this mean I'm still in love with them? Should I try to fix it? Did I not try hard enough? Those are all signs of cognitive dissonance that can stay with you long after the relationship ends. So all those conflicting beliefs need to merge into one belief, one truth. So how do we achieve that reconciliation and that integration? So one is education, and that means deep dives with somebody who's well-versed on this subject, who can listen to your story and help you to narrow in and focus on areas of manipulation, exploitation that you may not be conscious of or really fully seeing. The other half, and just as important half, is the somatics behind this. And we now know through all of our research on trauma and neuroscience that when we experience a traumatic situation that was not resolved, it lives on in the body. We may experience it in our mind or in our emotions and our feelings, but the storehouse of it is in our physiology and in our nervous system, regardless of all of the red flags that you may have seen, regardless of how empathetic or understanding you were, whatever childhood wounds that you had that may have been exploited in the relationship, there was still a part of this where you were deceived, manipulated, exploited. So coming to terms with that will help you to see this person as they really are, because if you could see them for who they really are, accept it, not as the division of their parts, but in their whole self, you would be able to accept this and move on and let go.